GF used her key to burst into her 23-year-old son's hotel room and found him cuddling his girlfriend. She had a complete meltdown until we found out she forgot her medication. I, 48M, have been dating my girlfriend Kelly, 50F, for nearly 2 years. We are currently on vacation with her son Ryan, 23M, and his girlfriend Emily, 23F, as well as my sister Bill, niece, and her boyfriend. To preface this, I know Ryan very well. I've known him for nearly a decade now. I was his coach in high school and we grew very, very close. He is practically a son to me. He's also been dating Emily since high school. When we were planning this trip, Kelly said that Ryan wasn't allowed to share a room with Emily. I thought she was joking, but she was not. I know Ryan is sexually active, and I've known by word of his mouth since he was a teenager. I said fine, and the technical plans were that Ryan and my niece's boyfriend would share a room, and my niece and Emily would share a room. Obviously that room arrangement wasn't going to last. Everyone was fine with the technical room arrangement. The girls even had a slumber party one of the first nights. Ryan picked up that this was just to appease Kelly. I handed him his keys and said give the second one to whoever, and he immediately gave it to Emily. My niece did the same in giving her spare key to her boyfriend. This is exactly what everyone thought would happen. Anyway, somehow Ryan had left his wallet in our room last night. Instead of bringing it to him at breakfast or knocking on his door or even shooting him a text, Kelly used the key in it to walk into his room. She saw things she didn't want to see. To be fair, they weren't having sex. What was described to me was that they were both nude, covered up at least on their bottom halves, but they were snuggled up and he was running his fingers on her back. This sounds like how most loving couples are after having sex. She was in hysterics. She refused to come to breakfast. I told her that was fine, but she wasn't going to make this a big deal on our vacation. Emily very sweetly apologized to me and said she knows how Kelly can be, which frankly made me feel terrible. When I went to retrieve Kelly from the room, she was still in a mood. She expressed to me how upset she was, and I told her be thankful all she saw was the snuggling and not the actual act. That made her really upset, and I told her she was overreacting. Ryan is an adult who has been with the same woman for years. She has confided in me before that she doesn't like Emily, but frankly I've never seen her do anything wrong. She's a bit punky and Ryan is a bit more preppy, but she's a sweet person who cares deeply for Ryan and vice versa. She called me every name in the book when I told her she was overreacting. She called him a child and accused me of taking Emily's side over her. I'm genuinely concerned. I've even considered the possibility that she forgot to bring some mood-regulating medication because I have never seen her act like this, and I'm being shunned by her for being an asshole. Currently we're all sitting on the beach while Kelly mopes inside. ETA. I wanted to add some relevant information that I see asked in the comments. So Ryan and Emily live together and have for, I want to say, 5 years. Ryan paid for his and Emily's portion of this trip. When Kelly brought up them not sharing a room as I was booking it, I thought she was joking and just laughed. It wasn't until we were checking in and I was passing out key cards that she reminded me of what she said, and at that point, instead of arguing about it in the lobby, I said fine and handed people their keys and told them to do whatever they want. I just wanted a drink and eat some fruit on the beach. She is in therapy and is aware of her unhealthy attachment to her son. She does take medication S for mood regulation, however I'm not sure if she currently has them. I think that's all for now. If I see anything else I will add it. I'm sorry I can't get to all of the comments, there's a lot of them and I'm on vacation. Update: before I get started, there are a few things I wanted to clear up. I know Kelly is mentally ill, however in the nearly 2 years we've been together I never really noticed anything particularly concerning. Her relationship with Ryan has gotten a lot better both from what I can see and from what Ryan and I have talked about. As for her relationship with Emily, she was never particularly rude to her, but they've also never been close. Kelly is in regular therapy and is medicated for mood regulation. Additionally, I am very, very careful when it comes to enabling behavior for anyone, including Kelly. The reason I took her comment about them staying in separate rooms as a joke is because I genuinely thought it was a joke. That was a ridiculous statement to make. I was sitting at my desk booking the rooms, she had made that comment, I chuckled, and then we started talking about something else. I had no reason to believe that she genuinely felt that way. When she reminded me of her rule in the hotel lobby, I looked at her like she was crazy. She didn't make a scene, and frankly I was exhausted, so I just gave up and handed people the pairs of key cards, and told them to do whatever they wanted, and within the hour I was asleep on the beach. I spoke to Ryan before anyone else, apologizing on Kelly's behalf. Since I've known him the longest of the young couple, I figured it'd be easier to talk to him. He was surprisingly understanding of the situation and apologized back to me for starting this whole thing, which I let him know was a ridiculous thing to apologize for. Before I even had the chance, he himself brought up emotional incest and said that that was something she was really bad about when he was a teenager and still needed to work on now that he was an adult out of the house. I spoke with Emily and the conversation went similarly. Ryan has always been very strict on his boundaries surrounding how his mother treats Emily, usually leaving her alone for a few days or weeks until she is able to be respectful towards her again. When I asked them both if they knew why Emily was disliked by Kelly, neither of them knew exactly. Emily did suggest that right before Ryan moved out, Kelly had walked in on them actually having sex. Her reaction was even more extreme than this one. They had just graduated high school, meaning Ryan was about 3 months from 19 and Emily was newly 18. This argument caused him to move in with Emily's family, which according to Ryan was extremely tough for Kelly. That event practically thrust her into needing to deal with her attachment issues and trauma, because Ryan told her he would no longer be in contact with her unless she started going to therapy and working on herself. The day of the post, Kelly was able to get an emergency appointment with her therapist. After that, she had calmed down significantly, and I was able to actually talk to her. While the whole talk was far too personal for me to go into detail about, I want to talk about a few points. The first thing I asked was what the actual hell was going on. While her unhealthy attachment to her son is at play, she told me the situation was triggering and sent her spiraling, then referenced the circumstances regarding Ryan moving out, which we had never spoken about before. She has a lot of trauma surrounding being a single mother, and certainly has abandonment issues. Ryan's father was a brief few-week fling who she thought would want to stay with her to raise a baby, and ended up leaving her alone. I decided to ask her why she disliked Emily. At first she said it was because she was loud-mouthed and had Ryan by the balls. I told her to rephrase in a more productive was, and she said she was opinionated and Ryan would move mountains for her. While I do abhor Emily, she is certainly opinionated but very intelligent and extremely respectful and polite. Additionally, Ryan hangs off of every word she says. He has told me himself that she's always the most interesting person in the room to him. That's not to say that both of them are perfect. In fact, I saw them bicker about a plate of fruit yesterday, but they are both great together. I told Kelly she should be proud that she raised a son that loves and appreciates his significant other so much that he has openly admitted that he would do anything for her. That lightened up her mood significantly. Funny enough, her therapist suggested she to talk to her primary care doctor or OB/GYN about menopause, which was what another commenter suggested. Her therapist suggested her medication may need to be adjusted if that's the case, as the extreme reaction was frankly out of character, and there have been other mood-related issues she's been dealing with. Initially, I was not going to ask about what medication she forgot. As someone who is on antidepressants, whenever I would express rational anger, some toxic people in my life would immediately dismiss it, claiming I haven't taken my meds. I absolutely hate that. With that being said, I decided it was best for me to ask which medication she forgot. To no one's shock, it was indeed a mood-regulating medication. Her sister is joining us for the second week, so she will be bringing her medication. Finally, Ryan and Emily had joined us in a conversation. It was filled with a lot of apologies, a little bit of tears, and a surprising amount of hugging. From what I gather, this is not the first conversation of its kind between the three. One thing that was spoken about was how Kelly ended up with Ryan's wallet in the first place. Ryan is not someone who forgets their wallet, or their keys, or phone, or any other personal item. There was a brief argument about whether or not Kelly took his wallet, but she denied this, and Emily suggested it just fell out of his pocket when he laid on the couch. The biggest topic of conversation was Kelly opening the door with no invitation. She was not able to give a rational reason for doing so, and finally agreed with Emily when she had said that Kelly just wanted to catch them off guard. Ryan also put Kelly in her place as far as boundaries go, which I have seen him too but am always impressed by, considering I remember when he felt like he had to just let his mom do whatever she wanted so that she was happy. Kelly accepted responsibility and spoke rather openly about her conversation with her therapist, which led to a lot of compassion and understanding from Ryan and Emily. Emily expressed her gratitude for Kelly accepting responsibility and even suggested they get a drink together. It was generally agreed upon that this entire situation was ridiculous, and that everyone just wanted to enjoy their vacation. Kelly finally gathered herself enough to join us all for our vacation. I feel at ease knowing I can finally actually relax. Since then our days have been filled with drinks, beach, good food and naps, and I couldn't be happier.